Well, the convention, as you might know, is one of those most complex international treaties ever negotiated under the auspices of the United Nations. So the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, it's complex not only because it has 320 articles and it has 9 annexes, and eventually has been also complemented by the agreement relating to the implementation of Part 11 and the agreement relating to the implementation of the Convention on straddling fish stocks and highly migratory fish stocks. But this is also complex because it balances all these rights and interests of various countries, various groups of countries, interests of coastal states on one side, interests of states which have been traditionally taking advantage of the traditional freedoms of the sea on the other hand. It's also complex because every single provision of the convention is related to a scientific discipline. And in order to understand the convention and its regime, you need to understand the scientific aspects of it and technical aspects of the convention. So for instance, geodesy, geomorphology, geodesy, geology, biology in the context of fisheries, etc., etc. Well, the convention, first and foremost, is a convention for the peaceful uses of the oceans. And as such, it has already fulfilled, not only with its entry into force, but even before its entry into force, its major role of ensuring that problems related to the oceans are solved by the international community with peaceful means. So, of course, the convention prevented conflicts over maritime spaces. It provided a very important part on the settlement of disputes, which was quite innovative. And it was mentioned already during this conference, it came up with the solution for the rights of the coastal states over the resources, living and non-living in the space which is now called the exclusive economic zone, and at the same time allowed for the international navigation by using various schemes of passage, like the innocent passage in the territorial sea, archipelagic sea lane passage, archipelagic waters, transit passage through straits used for international navigations. So it has been fulfilling a very important function, and of course, especially after this entry into force, there have been 3 bodies established on the basis of the convention: the authority, the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea, and the Commission on the Limits of the Continental Shelf. They've already undertaken major efforts in implementing the relevant provisions of the convention. Well, it is only hope that the integrity of the convention will continue to be preserved, because this is what the international community has continually emphasized, that these very delicate balance of various interests need to be preserved for the sake of future generation and for the sake of future peaceful uses of the oceans. But it's also important to see that this is not an instrument which is petrified, set in stone. It's being constantly looked at in various contexts. For instance, the international conference which is underway on marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction is another complementary instrument. Plus, of course, the convention is being implemented as a framework convention through many other international instruments which are, for instance, concluded, both binding and non-binding, under auspices of other United Nations agencies, such as the International Maritime Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, or within the context of IOC, UNESCO, and United Nations Environmental Programme. So this whole process is going to go ahead and continue, and of course, the firm anchor for these processes is the Convention, the Constitution for the Oceans.